Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Mr. Kola Ologbondiyan, who is the spokesperson as the National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, is with us in the studio. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much, Mark. Ajuri, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to believe that you are very concerned. I mean, in the last couple of days, the news that we have been hearing from the Northeast has not been very positive. First, it was Dapchi in Yobe State, where we heard that, 110 girls were taken by Boko Haram over 3 hours. And as we speak, a number of steps have been taken, but the girls are yet to be found. And then shortly after, we also heard an attack in Adamawa State where a number of people were killed, including the publicity secretary of your party. What has been going through your mind in terms of what is happening in the country and the steps that were taken to curb this security condition that we're currently facing?
Well, like every Nigerian, I'm very worried and troubled at the speed in which these killings are going on. And I'm more worried because it appears as if the government is helpless. And the federal government has a responsibility, first and foremost, and it is constitutional, to protect lives and property. And as we speak, on a daily basis, our nation is being turned to a funeral parlor. What happened to Sam Zadok, our publicity secretary in Adamawa State, is really shocking and it's devastated us as a party. What is happening? Is it that the government has no war room situation to think up solution to this problem? Is that what we are saying? We haven't got to this kind of level of daily killings. You talk about the abduction of our daughters in Dapchi. You just spoke about the Adamawa situation. You've forgotten the Kaduna situation. You've forgotten that some murderers killed a 15-year-old boy in Kogi State. These are seriously troubling. These are troubling situations. Everywhere you turn to in the nation today, it appears as if we are in a lawless environment.
So what exactly are the thoughts of your party in this regard? Do you think that this is a structural problem? Maybe, security forces need better equipment, better intelligence? Or do you think that this is something that is, some people have said, we need to restructure. Some people say, oh no, we need state police, and this is because we do not have, policing at the state level. That's the reason why we're saying this level of insecurity.
Before we get to the issue of restructuring, we must hold today. The nation must survive today before we dwell on the other issues. If the government cannot provide safety of lives and property, how do we even sit down to discuss restructuring? So the government first and foremost, has a huge responsibility to guarantee my life today before we can plan of tomorrow. And we are worried as a party. Yes, we had our challenges while we were in government, but it was not as serious and as in taking of lives on a daily basis. It wasn't.
No,
and we are saying
Mr.
that.
Ologbondiyan,
yes.
I'm afraid that a number of people would disagree with you. The reason why I asked you, what the thoughts of your party are, and whether or not you're giving this any serious thought, is because I'm hoping that you have the experience of having faced this sort of situation. I mean, there was a time in this country where people were really scared that the insurgency that started in the Northeast, that started under the watch of your party, was going to spread and go further south.
Don't also forget,
yes,
but before we left office, we had reduced our government had reduced insurgency to the Northeast too. Don't forget that. It's a statement of fact. One thing we always do is that just gloss over the past. No, but let's leave that and go to the issue of what our party is thinking. Our party believes that government must, out of necessity, sit down and define who the enemies are. Is it the Fulani man or my neighbor who lives close to me, who, for instance, in Kaba, where I was born and I grew, the one who helped my parents to graze their cattle? Is it that one? Or do we have an invasion from neighboring countries who are on a killing spree and just moving around? Or is it sectarian? So the federal government must quickly initiate a process to define what the problem is. We haven't gotten to that at all.
Mr. Kola, I want to come in here because, you know, Nigerians listening to this conversation right now would likely recall that when the unfortunate tragedy of Chibok occurred, what we saw in the immediate aftermath, of course, was the federal government essentially under your party saying that, look, this essentially didn't happen, that it's not true. And there was so much speculation and so much deflection and blame game and things of that nature. But today, Dapchi has now happened under the watch of an APC government. And the response of your party has been essentially to say that there's just not enough being done. How do you reconcile those two realities moving forward?
Because we have learned from experience. You said that they were disbelieved because it had never happened in the history of our country. And it was awesome. And we just couldn't, as a party, believe that it was practicable. But as we moved into it, we were beginning to discover what was happening. But the situation, and also don't forget that from what we have been told, I haven't been there, Chibok is close to Sambisa. But we have a situation of a landlocked community, Dapchi. And 110 students were just moved overnight. It's worrisome. But the point I'm making from what we have said is that we didn't experience this before. But now we have the experience. And we believe that a government who came into power on two promises, one, to fight corruption, two, to fight insurgency, has got...
And the third was to take the nation's economy out of recession.
Has got... Leave recession. If you go into recession, I will ask you a simple question. And the question is that what is the impact of the claim that they have taken Nigeria?
No, please don't digress. I was just clarifying that it was three pillars.
So let's leave that aside. Let us face this issue of insecurity.